Welcome back to Journey to Novelist. This channel is devoted to new writers and those writers new to pursuing the goal of becoming a published author. Whether you want to be self-published or traditionally published, this particular playlist within this channel is devoted to the Camp NaNoWriMo events for the year 2022. April, Camp NaNoWriMo has completed, and I was participating in that and did not do as well as I planned. And this is sort of an update on how I'm doing with that particular project. For Camp NaNoWriMo, for both the April and July event, I did, prior to them starting, have a random number generator select two of my previously started projects. Now, I happen to have a database that has all of my older projects in it, and they are all listed as being either active, on hold, or completely abandoned. And this is just some of them. There are quite a few in this list. And so I thought I would revive two of them for the camp events to see if I could make some progress on them. For the April event, a project called Third Blood Moon here, that is listed on this bottom screen, was selected for my project. And I did create a little tracker for it and named it the Camp Nano 2022 event. And I was using a software called FreeWriter. I wrote in this software for the last 2 months, all through April and through May, to work on this project. As a previously started project, I had around 14,000 words, and I was hoping to get through a complete first draft for it with all the major plot points hit during the April camp event. I have not done that yet. Even though I extended it from April on through May, I still did not get the entire first draft roughed out with all the points. I got to a point in the story where I began to think that I wanted to change the direction and make it a different type of story. So at that point, I started thinking, why am I writing and trying to find plot points for this path if I'm going to change it? And so I had decided that I would take this story and take it out of FreeWriter. Now, I was trying out the FreeWriter software because I do have a playlist on the channel that goes over a lot of software that you can get for under $30 that is designed to help writers. And FreeWriter was one of those softwares. And whenever I did my random selections, I had it pick some software for me to use and try out, and FreeWriter was the one chosen for April. Overall, the software works pretty well. It gives you a good way to organize, and I did like the fact that I had an overall list of everything that was going on in my story, and I had this pie chart, and I kind of liked that, and I liked the fact that I had my word count here, which it says I have 30,430 words in this software called FreeWriter. Now, I've decided not to continue on using FreeWriter. I did like my choice of how it could be set up with the acts, chapters, and scenes. And I like the fact that I have readback, which I'm used to that type of readback voice, so I found that very helpful. But I'm not going to continue writing it in this one. In fact, I'm not even going to continue writing this story at this point. I am going to take and move it to another software and close out my efforts on this story. Here I can look at my final word count for this particular effort, and it was 30,430 words. So I'm going to go right here to my progress for this and put in my final word count here, 30,430 words. And that was 600 words than my last edition here. I will enter today's date as the last time I updated it and hit done for that. And you'll see my final word count here for this effort is 30,430. I have the file name of the software it was on, and now I'm going to go ahead and say done on that. And I'm actually going to create a new entry into this because I have taken this writing from FreeWriter, and I have actually transferred that into a software called Papyrus Author, which is a software I also really like. And I've basically set up the same thing with chapters and the scenes throughout the story. So I've transferred it over here. Now, one thing I noticed when I transferred somewhere along the way, I have lost some words. So according to this one, there's 30,097 words. And I think some of that might be, I think I had a duplicate paragraph that I actually deleted along the way somewhere. So I'm going to make a new entry in my database for this particular software. Let me go ahead and close out the free writer, and I'm going to go ahead and make a new option for Third Blood Moon post camp 2022, and I'm going to make note that it was transferred papyrus author, and I'm going to put the date that it was transferred over. The goal type will still be in units, and I'm still going for the 50,000 words, and I'm going to put an end date of the end of the year. So my new goal for this particular project is to get back to it and complete that first draft with all the beats by the end of the year using this new software. And I'm going to go ahead and put my document name here, and I'm going to say done. Whoops, phase code. This is still going to be a 0 draft, so, and I'm going to make that my current project. Okay, that looks good. And now that shows that I have Third Blood Moon, and I have it currently on hold overall, and it's set to the post camp. So the whole project as a whole is on hold. Now I just realized I forgot to put the initial word count for Third Blood Moon onto that transferred information. So let's go back in here for this particular thing, and I will add a word count of 30,097 words and mark that as its initial word count and put in today's date for that. Hit done. Now it says my initial word count was 30,097, and when I go back to work on it again, I will know how much I transferred over to Papyrus Author and how much more I add later. So I'm going to click this as done for that, and done for that project Third Blood Moon. Now, when I randomly selected projects for the July event that is coming up, and I can actually close my Papyrus Author as well here. But when I randomly selected the project for July, it came up with a project called Ship of Ages, and that is a science fiction type of a story, and I really don't enjoy writing those. So I decided I would actually take that story and just make it an abandoned project, something I don't want to ever work on in the future. So I have a record that says I have started it, it's out there, but I don't want to work on it. So I did run the random number wheel again and had it select a different project, and it chose this one called Stalking the Cat. So I went ahead and created a new entry for Stalking the Cat for the 50,000 words for the July camp, and I set this as my new project for July. So that's what I'm going to work on for the July event. Now, what am I working on right now? I'm not working on any type of writing right now. I'm going to try to mock up a new cover for this particular project. I had a cover for this project that I sort of used at one time. It was an early mock-up, and it's partially cut off here. It just said the title, Stalking the Cat, and it had the silhouette. Now this was done years ago, and I did not have a high-end graphics program, so this was done, I think, just in Paint. But it's kind of the idea I'm going for, and I'm going to try to come up with a new cover, and like I did for the April event, where I put my cover on my background here, I'm going to update this mock-up of my cover for Stalking the Cat to replace this on my desktop to remind me of what project I'm actually working on. So that's one of the things I'm going to do between now and the start of the July camp, that cover. I'm also going to try to figure out what type of a structure I want to use. I tried one for the April camp and semi-successful on what I did there. I did make progress, but I did not make enough progress. So I want to come up with a cleaner structure, and I think I might be writing from the middle out. I don't know. But I'm going to try to come up with an idea of how I'm going to structure my writing time for July. And that's what I have planned for the next phase of this particular project of trying to do these 2 camp events here in 2022. Now, all of this is experimental because it is camp, and I'm just trying to make some progress, find some different writing methods, because I think one of the things that will help one of you become a more successful writer is to have a paradigm for how you write that fits you. It has to be individualized. You can't just pick up somebody else's way of doing things and say, I'm going to do it the way Stephen King does. I'm going to do it the way that one of these other writers that I read about did. You have to have your own way of doing things because everybody's an individual. Everybody works differently. And that's part of what I'm working on, is trying to find that method, that workflow that helps me get from point A to point B and beyond. So join me and see how that goes, and feel free to comment on how you're doing with your writing and what kind of projects you're planning to work on in July. So good writing, and I'll see you back here again on Journey to Novelist.